Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Once Upon a Week. Speaking really enthusiastically. Cool. I'm Chris. This is Once Upon a Week when I watch Once Upon a Time, episode by episode, week by week, and give my thoughts on it. Really liked last week's episode, real character piece about Snow White. That was good. I'm not going to lie. Dan, who I host Nothing But Static with. I come from Nothing But Static, a UK TV-based podcast. Dan's feedback from last week's episode was you might need to put like a lamp on your face or something to illuminate a bit. And I've done that this week, and I'm pretty hot, because although I'm sure you can't read, it's not probably made that much of a difference, I'm feeling this lamp on my face, and it is warm. So, yeah, last week's episode was really good. Good character piece, as I've already said. So that I don't boil, I'm going to crack on and watch the next episode. So I'll let you know my thoughts and how I'm handling under the heat of the bulb. Now. So Cinderella's in town. That was a shock. But I guess before I talk about that, I should address what I talked about at the end of the clip you've just seen. I am hot, but obviously I'm slightly cooler because I turned the lamp off while I watched the episode. But I am aware now, after watching the clip back to check it, that I am visibly boiling. Yeah, let's get through this quickly so you don't have to look at this for too long. I hate the summer. It's not summer now, but this reminds me of summer. I don't, shorts, t-shirts, I don't look good. It's not what you're here to hear about me in the summer, but there we go, I'm rambling. So, the episode. First of all, this episode addressed Cinderella in the fairy tale world, told her story and how she ended up in a deal with Rumpelstiltskin, and it looked at her in our world, where she was trying to run away and get away from having to give her baby over to Mr. Gold, who's our world's version of Rumpelstiltskin. And Emma is on a mission to find her and stop this from happening, which she achieves by making her own deal, which is very exciting, because that presumably leads somewhere. Lots of really exciting things in this episode, actually. Lots to get through. I like how I said in last week's episode I really wanted them to just address the fact that Henry and Emma were going to be hanging out together, because clearly that doesn't stop. So I wanted them to stop making excuses for it. Like the week before, it was all they've been caught again. I love it because that got addressed this week, and essentially it got addressed by them just going, yeah, no, all right, fine. Literally, they're together at the beginning, and Emma says to Henry, oh, well, if she wants to start something, she can, or similar. And then the evil queen is like, oh, well, I'm just going to put up with it, fine. So on the one hand, I'm glad that was addressed. On the other hand, it was addressed quite flippantly. But obviously the more exciting thing, as hinted at, is Cinderella's appearance. Interesting move, like exciting, because as far as I'm aware, Cinderella wasn't hinted at in any of the other 3 episodes. And it's funny because first of all, they tell you how they ended up in our world in the first episode, and then sort of they give you a bit more backstory that I didn't realise was coming, and then last week even more backstory. And so I've said before, like, is each week going to be about a different character that we already know? You know, how do they keep the flashbacks going? I've got no idea if in season 4 these flashback type things are still going. I assume they are because it's so key to the storytelling. But Cinderella is presumably a real example of how they keep it going, which is, oh, you think you know all these characters, here's some extra. But then, is Cinderella an extra character, or is she a story of the week? Are they gonna be story of the week fairy tale characters? So what I mean by that is, you know, like a story of the week monster for Doctor Who, where it's a monster in a self-contained episode, not part of the overarching thing. Surely they're not going to do that. Surely they're not going to do story of the week fairy tale characters. I guess they might. That's interesting. I don't want them to, if I'm honest. I like the arc stuff. I'd rather explore new characters than random ones weekly. I don't think they're going to do that, because surely you wouldn't introduce Cinderella and then not not do that, and then not have her come back and become part of the overarching plot. I don't know, it's interesting. This is a really interesting episode, because usually these videos I'm just giving my thoughts, whereas in this I'm exploring and sort of it's making me think about where it's going next, and it could go one way, it could go the other. This is really interesting. I don't think I've theorised as much in any other video after any other episode. So that's a really interesting thing. And they did that, they threw things in there, like the twist ending. Not that it was that much of a twist, about how the cop is sleeping with the evil queen. That's an interesting one, because they seem to be hinting at a relationship between Emma and the policeman. They seem to be trying to build that, and I don't think just because he's sleeping with the evil queen necessarily means they're not going to try and do that, but it does add an extra layer into seeing how that unfolds. And on Emma, they did some really nice stuff with her this week about whether she was going, the fact that she could go but she wanted to stay, her feelings on reflection about giving up Henry, that kind of thing. Some really nice stuff done with her. Great acting as always from Jennifer Morrison. That's really interesting stuff, but it's funny. I hope they keep a balance on that, because they could do too much of that. Do you know what I mean? I'm intrigued as to how much more they give us of that. It's got to get to a point where she either apologises to him or gives him some sort of emotional, moment about the fact that she left him or gave him away rather, or they just overkill it, or they never really address it. I don't know. I don't know which I prefer, actually. I'd let that one play out. I mean, I'm excited to see what they do with Emma and Henry. That fascinates me in general, as I've said before, just because child actors are always fun to deal with because they grow quite quickly. So I am intrigued. I guess it's the Cinderella introduction, the potential random fairy tale characters route. It kind of makes me see how it is able to go for 4 years and have a spin-off, but it really feels so self-contained at the moment. Really, really intrigued as to how they expand this universe, and today's was the first episode of potential hints as to how they can expand the universe. But seeing what happens with Gold, seeing what happens with why he wants to make all these deals and why he makes them and what they're all leading to is very intriguing and exciting. So a very intriguing and pause for thought episode, I thought, this week. I really, really liked it. It's been worth reliving summer nightmares of this light bulb heat. And you know what's amazing is it's not even going to have worked in Dan's eyes. I can tell you now, Dan's going to watch this and go, yeah, it didn't even make much of a difference. Well, he might say it has. Who knows? By the end of it, by when I'm doing this on season 4, episode 2. I'm going to have a studio and it will all be really fancy, and I'll be interviewing the cast. That's the dream. The dream is to go from like the 17 views that these videos are currently getting to essentially a Talking Bad, Talking Dead-esque spin-off where I'm chatting to the cast and sharing things. Just a few more views to go till we get there, I think. But yeah. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Hope you're having a good week, whatever you're doing. Hope you're excited about Christmas. This video is going to go up when it's December in 2 days. There's no real need for me to reference Christmas, but it's coming. If you want to laugh, by the way, visit isitchristmasyet.com. It's just a website that says no. Let's chat about episode 5 next week. I'm Chris Billingham, and I will see you once upon a week. Got a bit rambly at the end. I talked about Christmas and stuff. I apologise. Make a difference? It's a big old light. Oh.